Oh, Storm Creek, 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 oh, Storm Creek. There was a time when the milk ran free.
Now I'd like to welcome you to the mess. That is my living room at the moment. I have set it up as a workbench for today, and I basically have different things here now ready to go. I have my frames there which I have to assemble, and also my flat pack beehives, my national beehives that I have to assemble as well. I'm going to show you quickly how to do that. It's quite straightforward. I'm going to use a nail gun just to speed things up a little. I also have my roofs already here, they're already assembled, and of course I have my crown boards down here. So this is what it looks like when you get a national brood chamber in flat pack. It's a lot cheaper, of course, to buy it like this way. It comes in 8 pieces altogether. You have this long sideboard, I suppose that's what we call it. We have 2 of those. Then you also get a short sideboard, and that's basically goes in the inside of the hive. I'll show you that now in a short while. Then you also get I suppose these sidebars. We call them small B-space sidebar, this one, and we also have a long B-space sidebar. I'll talk a bit more about that shortly. We also get some runners as well, and the runners are basically, you know, the frames kind of fit on top of the runners. We'll talk as well a bit about that in a short while. And you also, what you're going to need definitely is you're going to need one of these rectangles as well, because you must make sure that your hive is perfectly square, because if it isn't, it just is out of shape with all the other kind of equipment. Of course you also need some nails, and they usually are provided, and some glue as well, wood glue, to glue it all together, and of course a hammer as well. So what I've done already is I've assembled some of this beehive now. I've added 6 pieces to it, and I have the long boards, the long side boards, and I've also got the bee space sidebars added as well. And what you normally would do is you would have the small board attached to the long board first on either side, and again here as well. And you do that first, and then you would add these small bee space sidebars. And the reason you're doing that is because it's just much easier to fit it together. But just for your purpose, so that you can actually see it better, I've done these first. Now just a little bit to explain about why you attach it like this is because you have a bottom to a hive, and you also have the top to a hive as well. And the top of the hive is obviously where the frame top bar rests. And remember, again, we have our runners here, and they basically fit underneath the top bar to bring it up level with the top of the hive. And you also have a bottom, and that's basically, you recognize it by the sidebar here, that it has a smaller kind of ridge, and that's basically the exact bee space. There's a bee space here, and that prevents any kind of bees from attaching the floor, or maybe the frames of another brood chamber that might be below it, to the bottom of the frames here, and that could kind of get messy and sticky. So what they normally do is, if it's wider, they might fill it in with comb, or they might even fill it, if it's shorter, maybe they fill it in with propolis, and then you have the 2 hives sticking together. So that's the idea behind the bee space. So the bee space is basically just a space that a bee can fit through comfortably, and it's about 6 mil to about 8 mil maybe, because you must allow as well for the queen to be able to fit through as well, and she's a bit bigger, and drones as well, of course. Now you soon notice that the sideboard and the short one and the long one actually are 2 different widths, and that's again to accommodate the bee space. Now you might be wondering, where in this groove do you attach the short one with the long one? And the way to figure that out is by basically placing your small sidebar there, your small bee space sidebar there, and lining it up with the grooves like that, and then getting a pencil and just marking your line in there, and that becomes then again this space here between there and here becomes your bee space again for the bottom of the hive. Don't worry if this sounds complicated, you'll figure it out now in a short while. So when you then take your sidebar with the bee space sidebar, and you stick it into your groove there, and you add your shortboard to it, you see it fits in there like that, and you have this lovely bee space here, so then the bees can crawl in there, they don't stick it together to the bottom of your, your floor, or maybe even your your brood chamber that's below it, and you can see it here, look, because your top bars of your frame would finish about there, and that prevents them then from sticking the bottom of the frames also to the top, of the actual frames, So now I have the side boards actually assembled, the short one to the long ones, and just so that you get an idea of what it should look like when it's fully assembled, you can see that these side bars should become handles, because they would run along here, as you can see. And I like this one as well because it's kind of slanted downwards, so that when the rain comes in, the water just runs off, which is actually quite good, Now, the next step will be to square it, and just basically, you can see here actually, there's a bit of a gap. And the way to get it perfectly square is by pushing the corners towards each other, and that's basically then, you kind of fiddle around a bit actually, and then once it's perfectly square, what you do is you get your nails. They actually give you a bag of nails with different sizes and different types, and you start hammering in the nails, and then you check again as you're hammering them in. Now guys, just to show you, I've added the nails, and I've been quite thorough as well. I've put 5 in either side there. I also added some of the shorter ones into the sidebars there as well, and I also glued the whole thing, so it's perfectly squared. I'm just now going to show you how to actually add the runners. We'll grab ourselves 2 of these. I'm going to cut that bit out anyway, because you're probably getting bored at this stage. It's like, Jesus Christ, there's a lot of information. Anyway, and the way the runners are working is basically you just nail them on like that, so they, as you can see, they have a slot there like that. So there you go guys, that's the whole brood frame assembled, put together. There's a few more small notes on: be careful when you're adding these small nails, because they're going through plastic, they kind of bounce all over the place. Wear some glasses, because it's really, really dodgy otherwise. Also, it's kind of helpful to hold them with pliers, because they're so short as well, because my fingers were kind of suffering there a bit. Now you can also really see here as well that when you put the frame on top, this is the top bar of the frame, that you end up with another perfect bee space under the frame, and that prevents actually the frames from being stuck down as well with propolis. So a very, very good design. I recommend this actually. This is a really good hive actually. You can put it well together. You have these grips here that you can really hold them. Again, you have that that sheds the water, and of course it's cedar as well. So western cedar that doesn't rot. It gives off its own kind of, well, chemicals as you like, just essential oils really, and that prevents any kind of creatures from getting in there, fungi or anything like that. So this hive doesn't even need to be painted. I think it's fantastic.